All right, let's talk about hacking IELTS grammar, specifically for writing Task 1. We're going to ditch the giant, confusing textbooks and focus on exactly what you need to know to write with confidence and really nail that high score. Let's jump right in.
You know that feeling, right? Staring at a chart and your brain just freezes because you're trying to figure out which tense to use? If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are definitely not alone. It's probably one of the biggest hurdles for anyone taking the IELTS.
And here's the crazy part. This is why it's so confusing. If you count them all up, there are about 13 different tense structures in English to talk about time. 13. It's no wonder we all get a little lost sometimes. But, and this is a big but, I've got some really good news for you.
You do not need to be a master of all 13, not even close. For IELTS Writing Task 1, to get into that band 7+ range, you just have to get really good at a small handful. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to build a solid foundation. These next tenses are your bread and butter. They're going to do all the heavy lifting for you and form the absolute backbone of a great answer. Check this out. These are what I call the core 4. Seriously, getting these down will cover about 90% of what you need. So, present simple. That's for your introduction, your overview when there's no date. The chart shows. Easy. See past dates on the graph like 2010? Boom. Past simple is your best friend. It's the most common one you'll use. Now, if the trend continues right up to today, that's when you bring out the present perfect. The number has increased. And if the chart is making predictions about, say, 2050, you're going to need a future form. Mastering these 4 is an absolute game changer.
And this right here, this is the golden rule. It's not about being a grammar encyclopedia. It's about being a detective. Just look at the chart. The dates, or the lack of dates, will literally tell you which tense to use. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
All right, so you've got the core 4 down. Now let's talk about how we can really push your score up into that band 7, 8, or even 9 territory. This is where you show the examiner, hey, I don't just know the basics. I have real control over the language.
And our first booster is the passive voice. Now this might sound a little technical, but trust me, it's your secret weapon, especially for those process diagrams. You know, how chocolate is made or whatever. Why? Because in those charts, we don't care who does the action. We care about the action itself. The structure is simple, just the verb be plus the past participle.
Let's see this in action. Saying workers harvest the rice is totally correct. But for a formal report, the rice is harvested just sounds so much better. You see how the focus shifts from the workers to the rice? That's what you want. It's more academic, more formal, and perfect for describing a process where the action is the real hero of the story. Okay, next up, comparisons. And let me be clear, this is non-negotiable. It's a key part of your task achievement score. You can't just list the numbers, you have to compare them, show the relationships. Use phrases like higher than, the highest, or twice as many. This proves you're not just reading the data, you actually understand it.
So it's not just what grammar you use, it's also about showing off a range of different sentence structures. This is something the examiner is specifically looking for. So let's look at a few ways to build that variety into your writing.
Think of this as a simple 4-part recipe for more impressive writing. You can start with a basic sentence, sales increased. Then mix it up by starting with, there was a rise. For a more advanced flavor, try starting with an ing clause like reaching a peak of. And finally, the real high score, complex sentences using words like while or although to connect 2 ideas. If you mix and match these 4, your writing will sound so much more sophisticated.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the do's. Now let's switch gears and talk about the don'ts, because avoiding simple, silly mistakes is just as crucial as using all those fancy structures. This is all about protecting your score.
Here are 5 little traps that are super easy to fall into. First, keep your tenses consistent. Second, don't forget your articles like the figure or a trend. Third, subject-verb agreement. Remember, data is usually plural, so the data show, not shows. Fourth, don't write a whole report of short, choppy sentences. And of course, the obvious one, double-check your spelling.
Look, knowing all this stuff is great, but it's not going to help you much on test day unless you actually practice it. So let's wrap this up with a clear, simple plan to turn all this knowledge into actual points.
And here it is, your 20-minute daily grammar workout. It's super simple, but so effective. First, you write a report. Then, you find a model answer, a really good one, and you become a detective.
Get out a highlighter and find all the good stuff. The tenses, the passive voice, the comparisons. Then, and this is the most important part, compare it to your own writing. Ask yourself, what did they do that I didn't? That active comparison is the secret to getting better fast.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It all boils down to this. For that band 7 or higher, you're aiming for over 90% accuracy with your grammar. And you need to combine that accuracy with a healthy mix of sentence types. It's that combination of being both correct and varied that's going to get you the score you want.
All right, that's a wrap for us. But before you go, I've got a question for you. Which one of these high-scoring structures are you going to practice first? Are you going to tackle the passive voice? Or maybe work on your complex sentences? Pick one and start mastering it today. Good luck with everything.